All right, so in this video we're going to be going over how to use the Roger Touch transmitter, which is a teacher transmitter or microphone that is used with the personal FM system. There is a separate video on how to use the Roger Inspiro transmitter. If you have that one, please go find it. And there is also a separate video on how to troubleshoot the Roger Touch. As a quick review, the basic concept of a personal FM system is the teacher wears a transmitter. In this case, she would wear the Roger Touch, and the transmitter transmits sound to a student receiver, and the receiver transmits sound to a hearing aid. There are various different styles of receiver. So for example, this little silver piece on the end is an ear level receiver. We're not going to be going over receivers in this video, so if you're having trouble with that, go find that video. So to get the Roger Inspiro up and running, there are a few things that you need to know first. Just some basic anatomy of the device. There is a lanyard back here that can be adjusted by pulling this strap. And at the end of the lanyard, there is a little piece that clips. It's quite strong. Can I even do it? It opens, it does, but I can't do it right now for whatever reason. So the teacher would wear this on her neck. The microphones are on the front here. There are 3 microphones because this has a few different microphone modes, more modes than the Roger Inspiro. And the way that you turn this device on is by pressing, and actually I need to turn it off first. So just turned it off. The way that you turn this device on is by pressing and holding this button until you start seeing flashing from this light up here, and then you'll see a loading screen. Once you have this device turned on, there are a few important things. First, when these microphones, they need to be within 5 to 7 inches of the teacher's voice. So a good trick is to use that trick where you make a Y with your hand, you put your thumb up at your mouth, and the distance between your thumb and your pinky is the distance that the microphone should be from your mouth. There are really just 2 important modes to know on here. First is the connect mode, which is on this first screen when you first load the device, and then the mute button. If I scroll through these pages here, there are a lot of different settings that you can go into, but really the most important one is the connect setting. This will allow you to connect to any receiver that is also turned on. So if I click connect, it will say a Roger My Link is connected. You have to hold the transmitter within 4 inches of the receiver in order for it to connect. Now, 4 inches of the receiver, not the hearing aid. It has to be within 4 inches of the receiver. The second most important button is the mute button, and this will start flashing red when it is muted, and this will make sure that the teacher's voice is not transmitting to the student's receiver. This is useful for when the teacher is having a private conversation where the student isn't privy to that information, or for during parts of instructional time where the teacher is not speaking. If I press it again, it will unmute. Now, there are a few other modes in here. As you can see, there are lots of things. Subnet, network, you don't need to worry about those, and you really don't need to worry about anything on this page either. The only other mode that you need to worry about is the mic mode. The Roger Touch is different than any other previous transmitter because it has something in it called an accelerometer. The accelerometer basically is inside this device, and it tells the device where it is in the world, where it is in relation to gravity. So when the teacher is wearing it on her lanyard, the microphones are changing, they're pointing up. If it's flat like this, the microphones change again. Rather than shining a beam towards the teacher's face only, it shines a 360-degree beam around itself. There's also a pointing mode. So if the device is being held in a student's hand or a teacher's hand like this, it can be pointed from student to student, shining a beam in that direction. Now, to reactivate the screen, see it's turned off, you can just press that button quickly and it will turn on again. If I go back into these mic modes, let's say that a teacher is noticing that they really only use the lanyard mode. They can go and force the device to only be in lanyard mode. So now the device will only be shining a beam upwards. Or they can set it to just small group mode or pointing mode. I usually say to leave it in automatic mode because then it will just automatically do whatever you need it to do. But you need to know that this option is here. Okay. So if I go back to this screen here by pressing the on button. To turn the device off, you can go ahead and press and hold the on button again, and what you'll notice is that it asks you, do you want to power off? You say yes. You should treat this device similarly to the Roger Inspiro when you're charging it. This has another micro USB charger that plugs into the bottom here. And when I say treat it the same as the Roger Inspiro, I mean this device should be turned off before it is charged. With the Roger Inspiro, and I believe with the Roger Touch, if the device is not turned off completely, it will not charge and will gradually run out of battery. So it's a good habit to make sure that it gets turned off every night. Same with the Roger receivers. You want to make sure that these neck loops are in the off position before they're charged. This device should be charged every night, and it should be reconnected to the student's receivers every morning. Technically, the Roger receiver, once it's paired, or the Roger transmitter, once it's paired to a receiver, will stay paired, but I find that they spontaneously disconnect. So it's important for students who are poor reporters that you connect every morning just to make sure that they are indeed connecting to the FM system.